Girl, I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. Come on and let me sneak you out and have a celebration.
Pretty good welcome, I must admit. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions at the beginning. So, how many here are in middle school? Raise your hand. Dang, you get extra stuff or something. So everybody else is high school, 10th grade, raise your hand. Ninth graders, or ninth graders? 11th. Seniors? Yeah, let's give them a hand. They deserve it. That's a good deal. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. How many people here know someone who have thought about taking their own life? How many people here know someone who have actually tried? How many people here have thought about it yourself? And it's okay to say that. Everything here is confidential. Here's the truth. In a classroom of 20 students, there we go. 5 people have thought about it, 2 people have attempted. So it only makes sense that you guys would know people that have. And what's amazing is for the old folks, for grown-ups, this is mind-boggling to us because we didn't really think of those things. I mean, maybe, in passing sometime, but we never really, most of us, not really seriously. And that all of you know someone who were serious about it, or maybe you were serious about it yourself. It's mind-boggling to us. And I'm here to tell you that I don't want you to think about that anymore, that there's hope. I don't have a remote to do the slides, so I'm having to point at Ashley so she can do the slides. You're not alone in thinking that. Obviously, everybody thinks about it. It's normal to think about it. What's not really normal is to actually try it. And the reason you guys have an in, and you really shouldn't think about it, is because you have an inside track to the hope. Because where is our hope? Our hope is in the Lord. So you have a protector. You have an inside track to an answer. You have a comforter. You have a protector. You have that. Not all kids know that. So it's also part of your job to make sure other kids know that. The main thing, that you can know at your age is to know what to do when you notice signs in your friends. So, for instance, if I ask you maybe what's one warning sign that you might know of? Do you have one? Anybody know any warning signs? I'll tell you some. What if, go ahead, tell me.
When they're like, oh, I don't feel like I belong here.
Right. That's a red flag. I don't feel like I belong here.
Talking about giving their stuff away that they cared about?
Exactly, talking about giving their stuff away. I just wish I was dead. I wish I could just go to sleep and not wake up.
Talking about how no one cares about them.
Exactly, no one cares about me, it's not going to matter.
Not really eating as much when you're around them anymore.
That's a good one right there. Change in attitude, they don't eat very much. Isolation, they won't go anywhere, they don't really care about the things they cared about before, they're just not interested. All of those things are red flags. So, and they say that, part of that is depression. And, we all get depressed. One of the main things I can tell you is that everybody is sad. You see commercials all the time where if you're sad, there is, medication for you. Well, let me tell you something. Being sad is normal. Every single day, there's going to be times of the day where you're going to be sad. That doesn't necessarily mean you're depressed or you have a mental illness. A lot of times you can be depressed and doesn't mean you have a mental illness. Sometimes you can be depressed and sometimes you can have a mental illness. But just because you're sad does not mean you're mentally ill and does not mean you're depressed. Being sad is normal. And we see all these commercials that say, if you're sad, here's this medication, it's going to make you feel better. The fact is, you're going to be sad. I don't care how much medication you take or how many doctors you see or how many drugs you take. It doesn't really matter. That's a normal part of everyday life. Being sad, every day you're going to be sad and you're going to be happy. That's normal. There's going to be bad times and good times every single day. That's life. You know, and if you do feel that way, if you do feel like, you know, it's more than just being sad, and it's lasting like a month now, and I really haven't found any of those happy times. That lady said I was going to be happy, and it's not happening for me. Then that's when you know that you need to get some professional help. You need to tell an adult that you trust, you know, or there's numbers you can call and things you can do, and I'll have some of that information for you that you don't even have to tell anybody if you don't want to tell them. Know that there's answers that you can get by yourself that are strictly confidential that you don't have to tell anybody. And they won't tell your parents, they don't tell anybody, it's just between you and whatever help you think you need. But seek help, you know, try to find any other answer other than ending your life. Because really, that doesn't do anything for you other than you're dead. It doesn't make anybody else any better, it makes everybody else worse. Everybody who ever knew you is upset about it. Because how many people have you known that have died by suicide? Does anybody know anybody that died by suicide? So what do you know about that? You know that didn't help anything, right? And it certainly didn't help you. So nobody was better off when that person left. Knowing those warning signs is one of the best things that you can do, is that you notice those warning signs in your friends, and that you notice those warning signs, most importantly, in yourself. And so, when you notice those warning signs, what is it, you know, that you think you should do? Talk to someone. Call the number. There are always someone that will listen to you, you know, and any of these numbers that you call, there's a whole list of numbers, not even just these. But we're going to learn these numbers, and you can even text 741 741, and you can send a text message. And there's someone there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, who will answer your text, who is a professional, who knows what questions to ask you, who will listen to you, who won't tell anybody. So use those resources. Don't just be sad and feel alone, because that's one of the worst things you can do, is to keep all that stuff inside. Because that, you know how it is when you start to feel like that. That's when it gets scary, when you feel all alone and it just doesn't matter anymore, and you don't want to feel that way. So if you notice that, make sure that you utilize all this information that I'm going to give you. This is what we want to do. When you notice these warning signs in your friends, or even in yourself, most importantly in your friends, that you act, that you ask, you care, and you tell. So the thing that you're going to ask is, like we just said, you know, I notice you're feeling down and you're not being yourself lately, and you don't want to go anywhere, and you know, what happened? And you know, you never want to go anywhere anymore. And I heard you say the other day that you just, you know, don't really care, you know? So when you notice that, you ask that question, and you ask them, are you thinking about killing yourself? And that's a hard question to ask. So I'm going to get you to ask me. You ask me.
Are you thinking about killing yourself?
You ask me. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to say. So everybody say it all together. Are you thinking about killing yourself? One more time. Are you thinking about killing yourself? It's important that we say that one more time. Are you thinking about killing yourself? And then you say, because don't. And you'll be surprised at how many people go, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Thinking about doing it tomorrow. Matter of fact, my dad's going out of town this weekend. My mom's not going to be home. I'm thinking that'll be a good time. And so when they say that, even if they say, no, not really. And you don't ever want to say, you're not thinking about killing yourself, are you? Because automatically they go, nah. But when you say, are you thinking about killing yourself? It opens that door for people who are desolate and desperate to say, well, yeah, I am. Because really and truly, nobody wants to die. They just want all that stuff that's going on to stop. So to give them the opportunity to talk to you, and you care enough about them, that's where the care and the consideration comes in. If you care enough to ask them, and then you care enough to stay with them and talk them out of it and tell them, I know this phone number because you're going to know it before you leave here. I know this text line number, 741-741. I know this phone number, 1-800-273-TALK. And if you call that number, it's confidential. No one's going to tell anybody. They'll talk to you. And you can even call that number if you're with a friend and you really don't know what to say. You get to that point and you're like, oh, crap. I need to ask them, are they thinking about killing themselves? But stop, I don't really know. You can call that number. And the person on that line will talk to you and tell you what to say, and or they'll tell you, just hand your friend the phone, and they'll talk to your friend. So even if you get tongue-tied and don't know what to do, that's available for you. So use it. And it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, like I said, and it's strictly confidential. No one really has to know. So you want to ask, you want to be care enough to stay with them, and then most importantly, even after all that, you still want to tell someone. That's probably the most important thing you can do. And you need to tell someone that you trust, a trusted adult. We have this video that you're going to see about this girl who had that situation with a friend, and she wasn't sure what to do, whether or not to tell, but she did. So that's the most important thing that you can remember, is that you tell somebody. And we're going to watch this short video, and it's like 3 minutes. So it's just going to give you an idea of why it's so important for you to tell somebody. And if you don't have a trusted adult, you can tell me. You'll have all my information, how you can get a hold of me, okay? So you want to find someone you can tell.
My name is Lindsay. I'm going to be a junior. I just finished my sophomore year. I think that playing soccer makes me feel important. It doesn't really matter if you're best friends with the person that you're playing with. You know that you can still trust them with anything. It was my freshman year, so she was a sophomore. We were in geometry together. She used to wear short sleeve shirts all the time, and then she started wearing long sleeve shirts with turtlenecks. And then she started talking to one of my other friends, and I really didn't know what they were talking about at first. And then a couple of weeks later, she was absent, and I called her, and she didn't answer. I called her, and she didn't answer. And then she came back a week later, and she just wasn't the same. She wasn't happy. She just looked so sad. And since now, because she didn't tell me directly, but now I knew what they were talking about. Because she had scars all over her chest, all up and down her arms and all up and down her legs. And I was like, what's stopping her from just killing herself completely? So I went and I told my teacher about it. I was definitely nervous about it because I knew that if I didn't tell him about it, that she could be gone forever and everybody would lose her. It wouldn't just be me that was losing a friend, it would be her mom, her dad, everyone. She could be gone. About a week after, I went up to him and asked him about it, since I hadn't seen her or whatever, because I was worried that something else had happened. And he told me that she was at a hospital, but I was really happy that she was getting help somewhere, there was people for her to talk to that knew what she was going through, and people that could understand, that people that could really help her. The summer coming into this year, she called me, and I had no idea who it was. I'd never seen the number before, but it was a 512 number, so I answered it. And she was like, hey Lindsay, and I was like, who is this? And she told me who it was, and I was like, oh my goodness, how are you? And she told me she was doing good, and that she'd been home for a couple of months, and that everything was going really good at home. So it didn't only change her, but I guess that was kind of I guess it kind of put her whole family in check, not just her, because the fact that it changed at home too, it didn't just change her, it changed everyone. Especially if you yourself feel like there's something going on in your life, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody about it. If you go and talk to somebody, they're not gonna judge you, they're gonna listen, and they're gonna try to help you. And if you hear somebody talking about it, and don't judge them, be the person that'll be there to help them. Don't be the person that's gonna say, oh, what's wrong with you, you're weird. Don't be that person, because obviously if they're thinking about doing this to themselves, they have enough people in their lives that call them the weird person. If you hear someone talking about suicide or taking their life, don't keep it a secret and don't ignore it. Take all talk of suicide seriously and take action. Tell an adult and get help for a friend. My friend is alive because I reached out to help. Call 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255 for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Okay, so telling obviously is so important. However, what if you have a friend who tells you all this stuff and they're sad and all this stuff, and they tell you, but don't tell anybody. Promise me you're not going to tell anybody. And then you're like, well, okay. So what are you going to do if they make you promise not to tell? I mean, because then you're going to betray them by telling, right? So what do you do in that situation? This is a back and forth deal. I ask a question, you give an answer.
You do it anyways. I mean, you're protecting their life, and at the moment, they're gonna be all pissed and angry at you, but then later on, they'll forgive you and thank you.
Correct. You get a prize. But what if you're wrong? What if you've made the mistake? What if it's really not that bad?
Well, their life, that you can't just gamble with their life.
Still tell. Still tell, right? What if you're worried about, what if no one believes you? You know?
Someone's gonna believe you. If you're talking to a trusted adult or literally anybody that's trustworthy, they're gonna believe you.
Well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they think you're just trying to start something, and they know that person. They happen to be the quarterback of the football team, and their parents are so-and-so and so-and-so, and that kid would never do that.
You call them first.
Yeah, or find someone else.
Yeah.
You keep telling until you find someone to listen. Yes, sir.
You can like find a teacher that you know trusted adult.
That's exactly right. Find a teacher, find a trusted adult, find somebody. And a lot of times, you know, I would recommend that you even tell maybe that person's parents. But a lot of times, parents will be the last one to believe you. Not me, not my kid. My kid would never do something like that. Every parent it's ever happened to thought that. I promise you. Okay? So that's why it's so important that you tell. Here's another thing. What if you can go change the slide. What if you promise not to tell, and you don't tell, and your friend dies? Well, you didn't betray him, and you kept that promise. But what good is a promise if they're dead, right? So what do you do, even if they make you promise, and even if you say, "I promise"? What do? You tell. You tell. Okay, everybody gets candy, by the way, so you can just kind of pass this around. Everybody gets candy, and it'll be at the back of the table, so everybody will get some. And usually I do this when there's like 400 or 500 kids, so I just like throw it out there and everybody scrambles for it, but I really don't want to hit you guys on the head with it. So here, make it easier for me. So that's why it's so important to tell. You can change the slide. So like I was telling you earlier about real life, adults tell you if you just work hard, get a good education, and you can do anything. You can be anything. Is that something you've heard before? Just work hard, get a good education. You can be anything you want to be, right? Okay, we lied. That's a lie. Every adult that told you that lied to your face. That is a lie. So I'm going to get you to pay attention to me now, and I'm going to tell you. You can get some candy in a minute. Okay, hold up. This is why this is so important that you hear this. That's a lie, okay? A lot of times, good opportunities come to great people who work hard. But usually, on average, no matter how hard you work or how good of an education you get, you're just going to be an average person with an average life. That's what life is. That's everybody in the whole world is just an average. Very few people become Beyonce. Very few people. You know what I mean? Sometimes those opportunities come to some people. But most of the time, you work really, really hard, and you're just an average person. That's just normal life. You're going to have sad times and good times. It's just average. It's just what it is. That's what life is. Real life is just average. And for some reason, we've gone into this habit of thinking that, you know, if we're not number one in every single thing, then we have failed. And that's not true. As long as you work hard, and you should continue to work hard, you're still going to be the best you. Because if you're doing the best you can, that's your best. And that means you did win. And you are a winner. And you are number one. You know, I don't know about you guys, but you know, probably your parents, my generation of parents, you know, we were taught that, you know, everybody gets a trophy. And everybody's a winner. And we failed you guys by telling you that. Because you're growing up thinking, well, then how come it's not fair? How come it's not fair? Life is not fair. Bad things happen to good people all of the time. And good things happen to bad people, which is really not fair. But it happens all of the time. But that is life. And the thing is that you don't let that stuff get you down, that you know that's normal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody you get me? Picking up what I'm putting down? All that kind of stuff? So, just be the best you. Be the best you can be. That's the main thing. And I just said all that so we can do it again. Just make sure that you know that. And remember that you mean the world to someone. No matter how bad you feel, I don't care if you got bad parents, good parents, no parents, somebody loves you. It may not even be someone that you're around that much. There are a lot of kids who've come in my life, in and out, and I love those people. They've touched me in some way. People love you. I guarantee you everybody in this church loves you. Or everybody in your church, if this isn't your church, they love you because they see you, they know you, and they care about you. So always know that you matter to somebody, okay? And I guess y'all can tell I'm from Texas, right? I couldn't hide that accent. I forget I'm way over here. And here's the thing, that you're important and you have value no matter who you are. That's why you're unique. That's why only you have your fingerprints, only you have your DNA. So you have value no matter what you failed at, no matter how bad you feel, no matter how bad things look in your life, no matter if your parents are getting a divorce, no matter if you've got in serious trouble because you did something horrible, you still are important and you still have value. Don't ever let anybody tell you don't, because you do. No matter what anybody tells you, know this, you have value. Because you would not be here, God would not have made you if you were not valuable. That's why you're unique. That's why there's no other you on this planet. That's why there's only one of you. So you have to know that. And here's another thing that I just really want to drive home to everybody here. Don't be mean. Don't bully anybody. That's so stupid. You know what I mean? People bully people because they want the attention and they want everybody to like them. So if they can be mean to someone and everybody standing around can laugh, well then that makes them feel good about themselves. That's stupid. It's horrible. Why be mean to someone? In these days, everybody's having such a hard time with just freaking life. You know what I mean? You can cause someone to be dead because you were mean to them. And really and truly, you don't want someone to die. You're just making fun of them because it makes you feel better and everybody laughs. That makes you feel good. You guys are the only people that can change that. There's so many people dying because they're bullied these days. And there's so many things going on with that whole bullying situation. There are people who are now suing school districts because maybe the teacher knew that kid was getting bullied in the class. The teacher didn't do anything about it. There's all kinds of bad stuff happening. They're going to make it to where no matter how old you are, you're going to be charged with involuntary manslaughter. And you're going to be in trouble for the rest of your life just because you were mean to somebody so you could get that feeling where everybody laughed and thought you were cool. That's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. It's not worth the damage you can do by that 5 minutes of everybody else laughing. And I challenge every one of you to be the person who's cool enough to not do it. Who's cool enough to say, why are you mean? Why are you being mean? That's just dumb. That's rude. Why be mean? And if you don't want to say that you just turn around and walk off. Because if there's no one to laugh when the bully is bullying someone, then the bully's not going to bully anybody anymore because they're not going to get any satisfaction from it. And if you turn around and walk off, I guarantee you everybody standing there, the only reason they're laughing, and you know this, is because you don't want to be the one that the bully is making fun of. So you laugh, so you can be a part of it, because you don't want it to be you. But if you turn around and walk away, I guarantee you the next day somebody else will turn around and walk away with you. And pretty soon, the bully can't be the bully anymore. And here's the thing, one person can't change the whole world and can't change the whole school and can't change the whole idea of bullying. But if every one person changed how they reacted to it and took a positive stand and just walked off, if you don't have enough guts to say anything, just walk off. And if every one person did that, you would change the whole school. You would change the whole world if every one person did their part. That's the most important thing you can learn from any of this, is don't be mean to anybody. If you're around somebody who's being mean to somebody, leave. It's not right. So this is why I'm here. I'm not just someone who visits, and talks about bad stuff. This is my daughter, and she died the day before Thanksgiving, November 21st, 2012. She was 20 years old. And I'm here to tell her story, to try to get the message across why you should not kill yourself. You know, and a lot of people think that only certain types of people kill themselves. I was, not me, not my kid, you know, my husband and I have been married forever, we got 4 kids, we're a great family, you know. You know, we weren't like wealthy, but my kids didn't want for anything, you know, they had everything they wanted. Isn't she beautiful? The coolest person I could have ever known. We were a close family. She was never neglected or abused or molested, none of that stuff. You know, and I used to think that only people that killed themselves, something horrible must have happened to them. And that is not true. Obviously, you know that. It can be people who are great people and have everything going for them. But for some reason, they can't take it anymore. And a lot of times that's just pressure. So if you are one of those kids who are under a lot of pressure, and you're in AP classes, and you are struggling, and you can't take it anymore, this is not the way out. Be sure that you talk to your parents and you say, I can't do this anymore. Because I guarantee you, if you make really good grades, you're going to get into a college whether or not you take AP classes. What's going to get you into college is good grades and a good ACT score. That's how you get in college. It's your GPA and your ACT score. Remember that, okay? Hannah was sophomore homecoming queen. She was an elite athlete. She had scholarship to play soccer. She was started as a varsity soccer player and basketball player all 4 years of high school. And she was talented. She was a self-taught musician. She taught herself to play the drums, the guitar, and the bass guitar. She wrote all of her own music. And she was very competitive. I mean, she had to always win. So at 4 years old on the soccer field, when kids would run past her, she would grab them by the back of the shirt and pull them behind her. You know what I mean? She was not going to have it. However, being that competitive became a hindrance because she always had to win. So when real life came along as she got older, and you can't win at everything all of the time. It's impossible. I don't care who you are. You cannot. Real life is going to come along and you're going to have bad days and good days, sad times and happy times. And that was hard for her to process. She could not be a failure. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. It's normal. Everybody does. Life's not fair. Life's not always good. You're not always going to be happy. But one of her dreams was to have her CD out. So she had these, 4 or 5 songs she'd already recorded or whatever. So after she died, I put those on a CD, and I'm going to give everybody one. It'll be in a bag back there. And we have a website also that you can go to that just has information, has resources. You can find stuff, all those kind of phone numbers and all that kind of stuff's there. We have a place that if you do art or you do anything like that, or you draw whatever, you can upload that there. And about every month or so, we do a little contest, and we'll send you something, whoever, because you get to win. Everybody gets to win something every now and then, And then you might lose, because it's normal to lose. But there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Everybody loses sometime or another. That's life, it's normal. But anyways, that was part of her dream, and so when I go and talk to kids, I want to make sure that that I honor her, and I get to kind of tell her story, and that you get to hear her sing. So I have this video of her that I played at her funeral. It's 3 minutes, but the song you hear is her. So you just kind of get to see pictures, kind of her life, and you get to hear her song. Okay? It's 3 minutes, and then I'll come back and talk to you some more. Okay?
1, 2, 3, 4. I gave you everything, gave you the world. I followed through and I kept my word, but you threw it all away.
So what if just one of her friends would have told? What if one of her friends would have said, Miss Kim, I don't know what's going on with Hannah, but I'm worried about her. Just one friend would have said something. I'm a cool mom. All the kids come to my house. Everybody knew me. And now all of her friends have to live with that. And it's horrible for them. So it's so important that you know the warning signs. And that you do what? What's the first thing you do? You ask, and then you care, and then you tell. That's ACT. Ask, care, tell. All together. Ask, care, tell. So important that you tell. We're going to learn this number, 1-800-273-TALK. 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 What's the number? 1-800-273-TALK. So, anyways, you don't have to buy CDs. We gave y'all one. Thank you for listening to me. Peace, love, shot of deuces. Thank you very much. And remember to tell, okay? Thank you.